Thank you for coming over here. Today I just invited a new teacher. He's from United Kingdom, so most probably you will learn something new. And that is really awesome for all of you that guys that's just coming over here to see how many people that's just get the opportunity to learn from him. So he's really a professional person. And yeah, so let's see. I'm waiting for him. So most probably he's coming. He's in a view. He may be coming within soon. So in the meantime, you guys can ask a question and you can talk what you want. So let me pinch a topic over here. UK expert teacher over here. Yeah, welcome everyone. Muskan Rajput, welcome over here. Let 1 second. I just accept him, his request to him, and then let's see what's going on over here. So most probably everyone will enjoy this conversation. Let's just start right now. Don't miss the chance. Come over here.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm perfect. Thank you so much for coming over here in my session.
I think it's a bit slow. The line is lagging.
Okay, if it is still, I have to. Let's see.
Okay.
Welcome.
Hey, Sunny. Sunny is one of my students.
That's cool. That's cool. If you want to come over here, he can do that. Okay, let me pinch a comment. Okay, okay. Over here, if you just come, very cool. Teacher.
Yeah.
And so, how are you? You did not mean to say share your
Okay,
life.
yeah, I'm very, very good. Very, very good, man. And we have been planning this for a while, I remember. So we had some. I've been very busy, been doing my own kind of work. Basically, I run a company for Chinese students. Um, and they basically come to me for student services, teaching, anything to do with student um, opportunities or work even in the UK. So I've been doing that since probably, I'm guessing, 4 months now. 4 months now, you know?
That's cool. Yeah,
So
wonderful.
it's been a long time because I remember the first time we spoke, I was painting my office. Do you remember?
Absolutely. I remember how I can forget.
So it all began then, and now I finally have the opportunity to relax a bit because busy season is almost over. So now I will be getting more active on my personal Instagram account. So yeah, you guys can join, you know. I just want to say one thing though, like Tayyip
Yeah.
is an amazing guy, man. You got to understand, this guy has self-taught himself English. He is self-taught. So for a person who comes from a non-native country to speak on your level, I think that's an achievement. So my hat goes off to you, as we say.
Thanks. That's a big comment for me too.
Yeah,
That's
definitely,
cool.
definitely,
So I'm
definitely.
very happy. But I think so. When I have been talking those kind of stuff in the previous live,
Yeah,
uh, when you have a so you have to move forward rather than thinking about any motivation and anything. So you just move, and all the things come behind you motivate. You can say that you have a big achievement. Start right. So
yeah. I,
probably
I, I agree. I agree with what you're saying. Like basically, a lot of the problems with anything, not just learning language, is doing things in your life. The problem that happens is as soon as you start thinking about doing them, that's where the problem is. As soon as people start thinking about doing things, their mind tends to create scenarios and ideas that are not true, right? So you end up just making your life more difficult. So I think the better thing to do is just to get on with your daily activity or whatever it is you're trying to do, just to begin with it. And that's the best thing I would suggest for anyone, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Learning a language is really difficult for some people, but it's really easy. The thing I just found that how it could be easy if you just totally immerse in that environment, involve, engage with that environment, then it could be
Mm,
people. Many people are thinking, oh, learning a language is not a for us. Just run around.
I mean, you know what? I mean, what you're saying about immersion, right? This a lot of people don't realize, like, immersion doesn't always work, you know, because what you have to understand is, like, even if you look in the UK, you have many immigrants. I'm an immigrant family, right? So when they come to the UK, right, and they come to make their lives better, what they tend to do is to come into communities where it's just their people, right? So, for example, I'm speaking about Chinese because my students mostly Chinese, right? So what they tend to do is to come to the UK and go out with, stay with, do everything with just Chinese people. So they're in the UK, but they're speaking Chinese all the time, which is, it's not going to help, right? So that's one of the things that I believe, like immersion, although I'm saying it works, I don't believe it's necessary to learn a language. Like for yourself, for example, you didn't immerse yourself in anything really. What you did was created an environment that supported your language learning process, right? It's a little bit different to immersion, a little bit different to immersion.
Yeah, you can say that, but my point is that just try to be just find the environment and area where you can practice and as well as you can enjoy rather than just only focusing about learning. Let's suppose student maybe pick up a book and try to read it and oh, this is the way that we can learn. Try to be use language, read, write. Maybe you're right, your sentence is really rubbish, but you have to give the chance to learn and repeat and all that stuff. That's maybe for
No,
you.
I agree. I agree with you. Everything you're saying, I agree with you. And obviously, it's working for you, right? So I have nothing bad to say about that. I think, honestly, like there are not many students who are able to understand language that way. They find it a bit difficult to kind of um, learn language. And the reason why they find it difficult, in my opinion, is because they haven't really gave themselves any aims or objectives to reach or achieve. So when they are going into language, it's usually because it's a trend, Everybody's learning English, let's go learn English. Everybody's learning Chinese, let's go learn Chinese. Everybody's playing guitar, let's go play guitar, I think for these kind of things, like it's quite difficult to learn a language if you don't have a specific focus, you know?
They just move with the go with the flow. What's going on, they just move rather
Yeah.
than they have a desire to learn because it's different. But the thing I just want to mention over here, even though I learned this language by myself, but I thought that maybe it's probably a little bit faster pace if I just hire a teacher. The teacher, because I can't think that teacher is necessary to learn the language, but if you have a certain time and if
Yeah.
you want to use those time period in an appropriate way, then teacher
Yeah.
is essential because he can help you, he can assist you, he can guide you. This area is your good. Maybe you are good in listening, speaking. You have to work on reading and writing. You have to work on so something like that. That may be accelerated if you have a good teacher. So the requirement of teacher is always necessary because computer and other kind of thing evaluate your writing according to what your level. Maybe they just give you, let's say, they just highlighted these are your mistakes, but they never
Yeah.
teach you why you did this mistake. What is the reason why we can correct this way? So that time is necessary in speaking as well. I'm talking to
Yeah.
you. So I have been doing some mistakes. So
Yeah.
those mistakes, you can pick my those mistakes and try to be remind me that these are your mistake. Never do them. So this is the point which I emphasize. that we can't the presence of learning anytime, but especially for language is really essential in a short time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, what you said, I agree with what you're saying. I think one of the most important things about that, though, is how do you find the right teacher, right? So what happens is a lot of people, like I saw this a lot in China, honestly. In China, it's quite crazy because what it is if you go to China, if your mother tongue is English, they will just help hire you to teach. Right now, teaching for me is an art. I think there's a difference between a teacher and a tutor. Okay, so a tutor is somebody who's teaching you a subject to pass the examination, right? So a tutor will be like somebody who's your IELTS tutor. It'll be somebody who is your maybe a mathematics tutor. But a teacher is for life. A teacher he will teach you everything, not just language. He will teach you um, everything that you can do, like from A to Z, from your housework to how you handle yourself as a human being to doing everything. So that's the difference between a teacher and a tutor, I believe. And I've always believed that. So it depends on your idea of learning also. If you just have an examination to pass, then you need a tutor. If you really want to become something and be an expert level in something, then you need a teacher. I think that's the two main differences between a tutor and a teacher.
This is really a new information that you share with me. I never thought it this way that the basic difference between tutor and teacher. But what do you want to comment about that? Many teacher, whatever you can say that they said, okay, you can learn a language within 1 month, 6 months. What is your comment on that? Is this online
For
learning?
me,
This
for me, my personal opinion, like I'm gonna be honest, I've been a language teacher for like a long time, right? So I kind of can understand when some teachers or tutors come and say you can learn a language in 1 month. The point is, what are you exactly learning? For what reason is this learning taking place, right? So if you have a clear focus, for example, I want to learn French, right? And in French, I want to know how to speak about food, right? If I'm specific to food, I'm more than sure that we can achieve like a very high level of French because we have a specific goal. But if I go into French and I think I'm just going to learn French and have no specific goal, it will be quite difficult to achieve any level within 1 month because you're not clear in what goal you're trying to achieve. You know, so I do believe you can learn a language in a month, but there are required techniques. Okay, many people don't understand. You know what's funny, man? The most funniest thing is like in the modern day is that people have forgotten how to learn in general, right? Our attention span is like this big or this small, should I say. So what happens is you engage in anything, even a movie. People can't even finish movies anymore. They'll watch a movie, it'll be 5 minutes, boom, I'm bored, right? I'm bored, I need to move on to something else. So the learning process itself, like people, I think, have completely no idea or they have forgotten how to learn. In general, this is not only language, this is everything. You know what I mean? I think that's the most uh, craziest things that I've realized in my years because in my early years of language teaching, people were usually more alert, right? Now, when it's come to, I'd say, since 2017, 18, I think I've met more language learners who are very, I'm not going to say lazy, but majority of them, they're quite lazy. They want to learn the language without learning, right? So as a teacher, you have to kind of understand that. You have to understand your student. If you don't understand your student will never learn anything, right? So I think
yeah.
as a teacher, you have to learn to know the needs of your student. I think that's very important as a teacher. If you can't do that, then you will never succeed as a teacher.
So it means you are highlighting two stuff that students are not dedicated to spend too much time to learn this language. They just want switching from one to another. Maybe they just enjoy to learn only for a short period. Maybe the class is going on 1 hour. After 15 minutes, they feel oh bored. We will continue from tomorrow over here. So they are not ready to mean to say what we call spending time that language. They said everything will be coming to trouble. Rather than they have to enjoy or learn, they said, okay, someone implanted those language in our body rather than we have to pass through those learning process. This is the point that you highlighted.
Exactly, exactly. So this is exactly what I mean. And I think that's got to do, a lot of this has got to do with the changing of how, or with the change of how we receive information. Okay, so in the modern day, how we receive information, like for example, everything's on Google, right? If I need to find any information about anything, I just Google it, right? Now, because of this, our memory, our short-term memory is much smaller. Even our long-term memory is getting affected. Why? I'm going to ask you a question. How many phone numbers do you know without using your phone?
I think so. Three, four,
Three or four?
me, yeah.
Yeah, that's three or four more than most, right? Now people they don't even know their own number, right? So I mean this is a big problem. You know, I think this is a problem. And if you can realize this, then your expectation of language learning or any kind of learning will become a bit more clear, right? Then you realize, okay, you know what, actually it takes some time, you
Absolutely.
know.
This is 100%. I just try to be highlighted this point that you said appropriately because I started also started teaching. You know that this is for you. I had been teaching, but right now I started again. But I'm a science teacher in a
Mhm.
private institute here. So I realized that students are just like they say, someone give us what we call a short terms, hints, what will be coming in the exam, and we just remember only those stuff rather
Yeah,
than read, understand all those things. They just only press their knowledge and say that only give shortcuts, tips, or you can say that hints. They just
yeah.
only know some topics rather than a whole book because they don't want to put their mind in those stuff which is little bit difficult. You are 100% right. The same thing
You know,
implement.
it's very true. Now, you know what? That's interesting. Why? Because then when we have all of these hints and tips and all of these teachers who claim to be teachers, and share ideas, I don't blame them, man, because you know what? There are people out there who just want hints and tips. You know, there's people out there who just want to watch a 5 second video. They don't care about anything else, right? So they'll just swipe through their feed. I see a 5 second video. That's all I want. I don't want to learn anything. I want to entertain myself, right? So
Absolutely.
for me, I've tried to approach the idea of any language learning, like it could be English, it could be Chinese, it could be Arabic. I mean, any kind of learning, really. I think we need to update our ability to learn and teach. Okay, I think we are in a different world now. I think as a language teacher, specifically, I'm talking about myself. I should be able to allow my students or help my students to properly use technology, for example. Like if you come to my class, I will allow you to use your phone as long as you're doing research, right? But if I come to you and you're like on WhatsApp or bloody Instagram, and you're not really learning, I'm not going to be angry, but I will ask you why you are using this, and I expect you to answer me because, you know, if you can't answer me, then that's a bit disrespectful. At least if you're going to do something, explain why you're going to do it, right? I always have this rule in my classroom. If you can explain what you are doing, you are never wrong, right? You are never, if you can explain why you did something, then you're never wrong. But if you can't explain why you're doing something, then that's a problem, you know?
Yeah, that is understandable. Okay, let I just check.
Hello, who's this?
Oh boy, can you remove those noises that's beside you? There's a lot of noise.
Where is it?
Oh, brother, don't make a noise. Okay,
That is a
sorry
bit
for that.
noisy.
Not
It's a bit
sure who
noisy.
is, but he just came in person after that.
Yeah,
I'm hearing a lot of background noises. So
yeah,
welcome, Jan. Thank you for coming over here. So kindly,
mm,
when you join us, so kindly remove your background noises. This could be better for us to understand you guys. So we are
yeah,
sharing a lot of stuff. So Puyan, you just missed the party. Just coming over here. Maybe I think so. But
yeah.
we discussed a lot of stuff. But you can join if you want.
Yeah, welcome to the new listeners. And yeah, let's see what we can do here. So what we were talking about is like just the learning processes in general, not specifically language learning processes. Any learning process requires the same technique, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not even technique. Sometimes it's belief. Belief is a strong thing, right? There is a theorist called Stephen Krashen, right? I
Okay.
love him. I love him, man. Honestly, everything I say is backed by Stephen Krashen or Noam Chomsky, because Noam Chomsky is another one. He's a language acquisition theorist. Anyway, so Stephen Krashen, he talks about the language learning processes, and he talks about the myths and what's not real about any learning process. Okay, so he talks further about how we have ideas that we have made ourselves about learning, right? And this either slows down our learning process or speeds it up, right? So, for example, if I approach any style of anything about learning, what's going to happen is that I am going to um, look at it from an emotional point of view. Okay, so what does this mean to me, right? So if I'm learning how to ride a bike, right? What does this mean to me? What will I achieve from this? How will this benefit me? Now, in my own like internal kind of calculations, if I get to the possibility that a bike will benefit me in many ways, I'm going to try my best to learn, and I will do it as quick as I can. But in my mind, in my learning processes, if I find no advantage of riding a bike, it's going to take me a very long time. That's the simple truth. It's going to take me a very, very long time.
So it's mean if you are if you know that what is your direction and where you want to land, then it could be easier. The process of learning would become easier. That is really amazing. Can you
Yeah.
repeat the name of the person? Okay, let me read the Poyan messages. Don't it's many time. A natural approach, learning versus acquiring. Yeah, absolutely. Mentor approach. Yeah, because
Yeah.
the Lucas said himself or claimed himself that he is a teacher, not a tutor. We discussed before what is the difference between tutor and teacher. So Puyan, he said that tutor is just help you for a certain goal or maybe for certain level of exam. But teacher can immerse you, can mean to say know, can help you to know the ups and down of the area that where you want to go. So it's you have a compile of different type of expertise from the teacher. So that is the big knowledge which I have learned today. So he's saying that mentor kind of thing, coaching kind of things. So that's related to the teacher rather than a tutor.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Like he's saying, is the monitor approach, right? So what we would call it is a language parent. For example, a language parent is somebody who will be around you, and as a parent does to their baby. When a parent speaks to their baby, what do? They affirm or reaffirm or reconfirm or reiterate and restate what the baby is saying, right? So for a baby, he might come and say, "Mama, hungry," and the mother will be like, "Oh, are you hungry? You want to eat some food?" It's a reconfirmation, right? So the parent doesn't say, no, you are stupid. This is not how you speak, right? They don't say that. They just reaffirm what the baby is called positive reinforcement, right? Positive reinforcement. So I think for people in the modern day, what they got to understand is like positive reinforcement is very rare. Like old school teachers, for example, like I remember my teachers, right, when I went to school, they didn't believe in positive reinforcement. Like if you did something wrong, it would say, "Hey, Lucky, go to the back of the classroom," or "Hey, Lucky, no, that's wrong." Now, what happens is with this kind of style of teaching is that you are going to hinder or slow down like the student learning process because they're going to feel embarrassed in front of all of their friends. You know what I mean?
One second. I think so. Someone want to join us. Said. Said, I think so. There is some problem. Can you resend our request? Because I just picked your request, but I think so. You can't able to. Can you again? Easier. You.
Yeah, no. So yeah, that's what happens, you know. So if you say to a student he's bad or no to a student, subconsciously, psychologically, you're already slowing the learning process down. That it's not the best way to teach a child or anyone. Exactly, positive reinforcement. Language with Puya. She knows what she's talking about. So it's just positive reinforcement all the time. And that's the school of thought I come from, you know?
He's
Of course, let's get Puyan on. If she come on, send a request and let's see if we can get you on.
yeah, but he's a boy. He's not a girl. You said she. I thought.
Oh, sorry. I thought. I'm very sorry, mate. That's my apologies.
Yeah, Fatih.
But
You.
yeah,
These are the best good friend. Priyan, he's from Iran, and Fatih is from I forget his country, so Turkey. So these two
yeah.
friends are here. So if you want to send a request, I will definitely.
Send a request, jump in, no worries. The more people, the merrier, as we said. The more, the merrier, right? Let's join in and have a good discussion today before we get serious tomorrow. You know.
Yeah. So I just accept a request of Priyan. Priyan is over here with us within soon.
Okay. Okay. Cool. No worries.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hey, mate. How you doing? You okay?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
Sorry to bother your topic, so continue saying what you were saying.
All right.
Like,
So
I'm
yeah.
just
So
all ears.
so yeah, we were
I'm
talking
over here.
about positive reinforcement. So it's the idea of like just the learning process of old school style versus like the modern day. I think the old school, it doesn't quite suit the new generation. You know, the new generation, we are people of TikTok, right? We are a people of shorts. We are people of swiping, you know. The most interesting psychological fact about the swiping motion on any application came from, remember Angry Birds?
yeah.
So now Angry Birds had the first ever function of using the swipe, right? Why? Because you're shooting the bird, right? So this kind of like influenced the whole everything from that. Like, look what we have now. We have the swipe, endless scroll on Facebook. We have an endless scroll, and what is the motion? This is the motion, the finger motion, right? So they did a study anyway, which you can check out on Angry Birds and how this affected the overall the development of applications in general. But my point is, this is the generation we are from, right? The new generation, I would say, the like post 2000, like all of these like new learners, like they are very um, the attention span is much smaller. They want to have some high intensity, you know. They want some fun. They don't want to be too serious, you know. So it's just the development process of humans, you know. Because if you look at your grandparents, right? I'm looking at my grandparents. How did they learn? They went to school and got hit on the back of their hand. And I'm talking about England, right? They caned them. They call them the cane, right? They still had the cane when my mum went to school. And my mum went to school, what, maybe 30, 40 years ago? Not long ago, right? 30, 40 years ago, like probably not even one generation. And they still got the cane, right? They still hit them on the hand if they didn't listen. And this is Britain, this is England, you know, this is the West. This is not like in the East, right? We are talking about England. They still had the cane, and then the cane, I think they stopped the cane in the 70s or 80s. I'm not too sure. But anyway, my point is that like the new generation, we can't do that. Like even the new generation, even if you say or tell them off, they will take it very personally, right? They
So
will take
okay,
it so personally.
so that's the point I just noted over here, that you are sharing that the new generation should like to adopt, the learning process. So how do you describe your student? What are you suggesting to the generation? How, because they are not ready to sit at one chair, I mean to say one area to read, to write for a longer duration. They just fed by
You know what?
conventional
I'm going to say
system.
something. I'm going to say something that will be controversial, and a lot of teachers they're going to throw stones at me, I'm sure, right? But I'm going to say this. I think the question that you asked, the question was, how would the new generation student figure the learning process out because their concentration, they need to write. Okay, this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to say the responsibility doesn't lie on the student. I think the responsibility lies on the teacher. Okay, if the teacher cannot understand that his or her student is the way he is or she is, right? And is unable to cater to that student, the problem is not the student now. The problem is the teacher. Why? Because the teacher is supposed to be wise enough to enable the young person to learn, right?
But
He should be
there is
wise enough to do that.
But there is a one argument over here. Most of the teachers say that, okay, this guy just come over here after 15 or 16 years to learn this language, and they have a redundancy of learning those in a different way. But the language learning is a different subject of thought. So if we just try to introduce new way of learning, so it is not work, and he just want to go back. Because let's suppose learning a language, maybe you and other people just engage with them. They sit down, they just memorize something, and then they forget about because they just passed the exam. This is the old method they have been doing. So in that
Yeah,
circumstance, teacher said that this is not our fault. This is the fault of our parents and or maybe the previous school who just I joined and they just keep following the rat race. And right now we are in a different environment. So what should we do? We have to take time to adopt this environment, or what? Because you are just blaming to the teacher. You are not blaming the environment. You are not blaming to the psychology of their parents and their friends. So you are just blaming the people. They just do something different. Puyan, you want to say something, Puyan?
yeah. Do you want to say something?
I'm just listening. I just trying to listen to what you are saying. So because I just joined a bit later, so I wasn't following. I just um, about Crash, and when you told about favorite
Yeah,
author,
exactly. Yeah,
like he said something very interesting about learning a language, like a passive approach. He
yeah,
said like uh, for learning a language, you can go to a coffee shop for
yeah,
some level. You just can listen people's normal talk.
yeah,
You shouldn't just in a process, and little by little you can make, and kind of he's a kind of against somebody who's like an anti-grammarian. You're like,
yeah, 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 yeah.
it doesn't care much
Yeah,
about grammar. He said
yeah,
little by little we will notice, and in a kind of inductive approach, not
yeah.
a deductive approach versus.
100%,
So
100%. Because I
so
support that idea of Stephen Krashen's. I'm going to be honest. Like, I think there are certain times a grammar-based approach
yeah.
is required. But I mean, in the modern day, for specifically communication, grammar is not at the forefront of your worries. You know, it could be the last thing that you worry about. However, what we got to understand is where is the learner coming from? Like, this is the problem I gotta like address. Like, a lot of people they say grammar approach system is a slow system. Yes, but what happens if you are from the Middle East, who like the majority of their language has a strong foundation in grammar, right? And if these kind of people have a strong foundation in grammar, then the person who is advising them or teaching them their target language needs to understand the way this person is formulated, the way this person is situated, you know. So that's why I say I don't blame, like going back to Tayyip's question, I don't blame like the parent, I don't blame the environment. I blame the teacher. Okay? Like I believe the teacher, they we are in a nation of teachers right now where if a student complains against the teacher is going to feel uh, demoralized. But the point is, if the student doesn't ask you any questions or critique you, how will you further benefit anyone? How will you become better? How will you teach better? Right? So as a teacher for myself, I have very thick skin, you know, and I always encourage my students to say anything and everything, right? Don't be shy. There is no holds bar. Just be clear and straight as possible, because that's the only way you're going to learn, you know? That's the only way.
You know, actually, something about Middle East, you mentioned that I think Middle East has, you know, as you said in your previous talk, now is the time of TikTok. Now it's time of short scrolling down things. So also in the past, yes, it was right. We were very, like because of the culture, kind of involved with the grammar process. Even we learned the grammar of English before the language of English. So they taught us some formulas. This is, for example, present perfect, where like a subject, verb, object, or something. Now I think because of the Corona thing, most schools are off, and we have homeschooling, and people just, even in Middle East, they are just, their teachers maybe are living in other countries, like in England, America, or like in India or some other places. So it's like, because of this Corona, we are more close to the concept of globalization, you know, somehow. So the things are changing, you know. In my idea, even in Middle East, it's changing as well.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. It's just the rate of change is so rapid right now. Like, I think I wouldn't be surprised that you said that, you know. But what you got to understand something about the English languages is this, right? You got to understand the English language is not an old language. Its history goes back maybe 400-500 years. Before that, there was no standard version of English. There was no written form of English. You got to understand this. So because of this, that a lot of information, a lot of ideas, a lot of anything that we are I don't know, to teach as a teacher or to learn as a student, is English still needs time to mature. This is why our grammatical system is constantly changing. This is why the way we speak from generation to generation is constantly changing, because our language now has not fully matured. Does that make sense? It's still a young language, okay? And when people are young, or when anyone is young, they have a different kind of outlook, you know? It's usually about I am the best, right? It's usually about I will take over the world, you know? This is what usually young people do, right? Now, if you look at more older languages like Arabic, Chinese, Latin, Italian, right? A lot of these languages, they are very romantic, you know? They are very sensual languages. They hold a lot of depth, right? You can say one word which means 100 things, right? Especially like right. It's true. This is very true. Like, I don't know if you've thought about this, but Noam Chomsky talks a lot about it.
That's very interesting point. I didn't know it's called, because I speak Italian as well a bit. So I didn't know that's called it Latin or Romance languages because of its poetic or romantic things.
Exactly.
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah. So so these are our English language is being dumbed down, says the Donato Prezioso. Yes, you are right. Okay, and there's a reason for that. I can't talk conspiracies right now, so I'm going to leave that aside. But anyway, so yeah, the Romance languages, they can talk about something in much more depth, right? So if I gave like a picture of something, any picture or anything, to a person of an Arabic speaking or Italian speaking or French speaking language, they are much more they will be much more easily to express something about this picture. Whereas in the English language, it's usually very short and very boring, you know. Whereas in those other languages, they can go into a lot of depth, right? And this is because like these languages had a long time to develop their nuances, right? They had a long time to develop pragmatics. They had a long time to develop certain ideas through their language. So the whole culture got developed through the language, right? Or the whole language got developed through the culture. However, the English language is still a very, very, very young language. Honestly, what people have to understand is that English is a very young language. So when you learn English, and I'm saying this as an English teacher, like when you learn English, be skeptical of certain ideas you learn, because when you learn a language, you're not only learning the language, you're going to learn the culture that comes with it, right? So just be very careful in the way you learn this new young language. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you are highlighting a lot of stuff that is really, it's a little bit difficult to absorb all those stuff. Maybe Puyan,
Yeah.
because you have a lot of experience. Maybe you have been teaching this language a couple of decades. So
Yeah,
it's
at
me.
least I'd say 11, 12 years almost. Like before that, I used to teach in music, by the way. I was a music mentor. I used to teach how to write music, you know. So before that, I was a music, but we've always been teachers in my family. My grandfather, he was a headmaster at the school. My mom, she was a teacher. I'm a teacher. My brother is a teacher, you know. So we are a family of teachers right now.
So all of them are teaching English, or maybe they are teaching
No,
something
no.
else.
So my brother, he teaches, I think is geography. I'm not too sure. My mom, she was a mathematics teacher. My grandfather, he was a mathematics teacher.
So all of them
Wow.
in the UK,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
maybe
all
they.
of them in the UK. All of them in the UK, yeah. So basically, I'm third generation UK now, right? So my mom was second generation. So I'm third generation in the UK. So yeah, they were all in the UK.
So it's mean you have a means of teaching. If I'm saying that, it's not wrong, because your grandfather and your mother, and then right now you guys are teaching. So it's mean you
Yeah,
have
yeah, I mean,
ability.
pretty much. Yeah, yeah. Which is cool, man. It's cool to have a family of teachers sometimes, just to learn something a bit differently, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It is different. And you may also learn during teaching. You may learn from the students. And our teacher is always learning and always, we can't say
Never
that
stop.
only, yeah, teacher
Never
is
stop.
just given. Especially those teacher which are popular in the market. They are always refine their knowledge. They are updating their knowledge. They are sharing the right stuff. Just you said, this is right now is the TikTok environment.
Yeah,
We have to what how we can engage by sharing the short stories with other students and other people to improve their language skills. So that is really
exactly. Exactly. Just give me one moment, lads. I need to get my charger because otherwise it's gonna be cut short.
Okay.
Right?
a problem. Take your time. I just talked with the Puyan. Hello, Puyan. Welcome. Yeah, why are you busy? Why you are not talking anything? Yeah, I think so. You are busy. Oh, let me.
No,
Don't
I'm.
don't. Why you are not sending a request? Are you busy right now? You can share what you want. It's the time for you to shine. Ronto, I'm waiting.
Yes. Because I was, as I said, I wasn't following on your live. I think your live has been for 1 hour, right? Right, maybe more.
Let me see. No, 43 minutes, not more than that.
Okay, so I just in the middle of live, I watched you and I wanted to come, and when I heard about my kind of say mentor, like they are great people like Chomsky, like Krashen, like the people that also maybe some new like do you know there is a guy like David Crystal.
Yeah.
He's very good at language as well.
Yeah, yeah.
David Crystal.
Yeah.
So they are all different, trying to different cover the different areas of English language. As I said, yeah, that's right. I think Anglo-Saxon culture is more direct culture, like German language,
Yeah.
Dutch language, Deutsch language. They are more direct. They are not poetic that much. They are just very clear cut and clear crystal. But people from like Latin or Romance, they are more like poetic or try to
Abstract, you know.
beating around the bush,
Abstract.
beating around the bush.
Yeah. I mean, you say that, I remember the studies that I did when I was in college, and this was probably in 2012 or maybe 2011, long time, 10 years ago, maybe longer than that. Basically, one of the problems they found with the English language is that it's becoming too pragmatic. Okay, so what's happened now is when people go to see the doctor, people are not being clear with what's actually wrong with them. So the doctor is misdiagnosing the patient. Okay, and I forgot the technical name for this phenomena, but it's all to do with the fact that the English language is becoming more and more pragmatic. Okay, and that's because of the generational change in the language. Like, as we know, Shakespeare used to use the word gay to mean happy, right? So now we use this word for a very different reason, right? So this is all because the nuances, there's certain things in the English language that will continue to change because they are still a young language, you know. It's still a young language. It's still maturing. It's still defining itself in the world, right? So what shocks me as an English language teacher and as a speaker is the fact how the English language took over the globe in such a short amount of time, right? That is the shocking part of English in general. As for me, that is just I am sometimes amazed by this because in less than 50 years, this is recent history. This is not even history. This is, you know, that in less than this amount of time, the whole world has jumped onto the English bandwagon, which is pretty crazy. Then no other language has done that, right? Like if you really think about it, like maybe Spanish, maybe French, because they also had colonial roots, but English is on a whole different level, you know, the way it's taken over everything.
Yeah, that is a strong.
And
You're just mentioning that we are just language always, revolving or revolutionizing, just like that you said. Shakespeare used gay for a different prospect, and right now we are using a different area. So language is changing and improving. And everything is just a change, the way that people are living. So anyhow, that's good. That's good. So what do you think about the culture, English culture? So just move on towards that. So because people like, and I think everywhere people are just following English culture. So would you think that
I mean, first of all, I'm going to ask you guys, what do you guys think of the English culture?
yeah.
Okay, Priyan,
Yeah, please. I think, as I said, I think English culture is I like it very much because it's very direct, like German culture. Actually, I see that as from other point of view, I see it very direct culture, and they have, I mean, you can say, maybe somebody say this is like a dump down or simplification or other things. But the thing is, it's very clear, and it's getting more like based on the Anglo-Saxon after World War II, it suddenly take over, and they try to show the world something like with Hollywood, like McDonald's, with all of these kind of things, try to distribute the English culture. And in a short time, I can say it's like changing a lot, So nobody, even if maybe you ask somebody in the beginning of the 21st century, if you say, maybe you imagine the English would be the language of the world in the future, nobody say, for example, yes, because
nobody would know.
It wasn't very possible.
Yeah,
but after the war, everything's changed somehow.
So, I mean, World War II, you got to understand, was a very pivotal point for history, like for human history, right? You got to understand, like, it's becoming ghetto talk. He said we're going to come back to that in a second. But World War II was like the pivotal point in global like demographics, right? So new borderlines got drawn out after World War II. A new culture was presented to the world after World War II. Technology boomed, right? So post World War II, I'm sure the first computer got developed. It was here in Manchester, okay, by a guy called Alan Turing. Um, he developed the
Mm,
first computer, which was probably the size of the
yes,
room
sure.
I'm sitting in, right? So all of this had a massive impact, right? Had a massive impact on not only the development of humankind, but also language, right? So post World War II, what are we saying? That's when the Americans took their hold on the world. That's pretty much it, right? Post World War II. So Americans, obviously, the Europeans and by heritage they speak English. So this kind of culture got pulled across the world through Hollywood, through technology, and this has been pushed with the advent of the internet, right? When the internet came, kind of changed the game again, right? Because I remember when I was young, when the computer came, we still had these floppy disks. Do you remember floppy disks?
Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
yeah,
It
they
was,
had floppy disk. So all our
yeah.
information, it came from the floppy disk, right? And then after that, we had CD of, I don't know, it was encyclopedia, right? We never had access to technology or the world like we do today. So now the fact that we are so developed in technologically, it's just a different game, you know. Everything is different. It's not even the language we speak that is different. It's the clothes you wear. It's the
Uh,
thought
yes.
patterns. You know, it's the what we think
Yeah.
is also changing. What we eat is also changing. You know, like globalization. Let's look at KFC and McDonald's. Right, which country do you go to now that doesn't have KFC or McDonald's? Impossible. Every country in the world has bloody KFC and
We don't
McDonald's.
have it. We
Yeah.
don't have it. We don't have it.
Really? You
In
don't
Iran,
have
we don't have it.
it? In Iran, you
Yes.
don't? Well,
Yes.
good. I'm good moving to Iran.
In
Well,
Pakistan, do you have it? Tayyip, in Pakistan, do you have it? Do you have McDonald's
I think so.
or KFC?
In my city, maybe more than 30 branches in my city. Maybe
Oh,
around, I'm sure.
I mean,
yeah.
you know what? That's an interesting situation because you're in Iran, right? So your influence of the Western influence is not that strong, right? I'm guessing.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah.
Very true.
So,
Very true.
I
They
see.
call it like they call it Western aggression or Western cultural, impose. I don't know. They call it some terms like that.
Imposed culture. Yeah,
Western aggression,
yeah, yeah.
culture. Yeah,
I
they are
mean,
like maybe communistic terms.
But I
so
think so.
how?
Yes,
Sorry,
go
Tayyip,
ahead.
you go first. Okay, okay,
Yeah,
I'll go first.
because
So
because
what
of that, because of that sanctions that implemented by America, that's why you don't have those kind of things. Yeah, yeah. America
Yeah, sure.
music videos ruin the English language. No class, a very low level of communication.
Yes, Mr. Donato, I agree with you. But anyway, what first Iran in Iran, yeah, what Tayyip said, is it because there's no influence of America on you guys or
Yeah, because American put a sanction.
I,
They
mm,
can't able to move towards US and they have not
mm.
over there in Iran. So because they have some problem
So,
between Iran and
we had some revolution in 1979. So after that, country were like a kind of against West somehow. So we tried to have less things related to America, like for example KFC, McDonald's. I don't know, maybe something related to even Hollywood. So it's like we don't have, you can buy access to internet, you can access by the satellite internet, you can see, but they don't. If you go on the street, you cannot see the American things, that much. So it's like as like because of the
I
mistrust between the nations.
tell you what was the behind what is the behind story because the Americans say that no one can just work on the nuclear power but there are some countries around the world they sign the agreement okay we don't and they just receive a money from a
yeah,
UNO
yeah,
what
yeah.
Iran
Mm.
just so they just sign and as well as they keep going their technology revolution so that they can use or they can sometime they can say that we have a nuclear things
Mm.
so but Americans said that you just sign and you are working on that. That's why American put some, sanctions. They can't able to sell their petrol or petroleum product to the US and those UN and as well as other countries. So they can't receive any aid from the US and then UK and other countries. So something like that. That's called because they violated. First they signed the agreement and after that they violated and they keep violating up till now. So that may be there's a little bit of political thing which I know I just shared with you. It's again it's a politics. Let's move on towards language. That may be good for our listener rather than just
Politics and conspiracies is for a different day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What did I
maybe
just?
people
Yeah.
people are just so
Yeah,
okay let
but
me
I mean, the influence of language? If we just go back to that for a second, like, because what I feel is this, like, I feel that minority languages right now are more important than global languages. Like, honestly, I think we're at a shortage of minority languages, and global languages are just dominating everything. Now, the problem we have with that is that minority languages hold a culture and a knowledge like that no other culture, no mainstream culture can grasp, right? So, for example, minority languages, they might even have secrets to medicine, right? Minority languages might even have secrets of communication. For example, I'll give you a very, very interesting.
No.
Hello.
hey brother
Right. The background music.
should I remove him? Oh my god.
Thank you. Anyway, so what I was saying, minority languages, right? So if you go to Finland, this is very interesting. The etymology, I love etymology, right? So if you go to Finland, right,
Yes.
they have two
Me
words.
too.
Yeah, I love etymology. They have two words for love, right? Now, the first word for love in Finland is for an object, right? So I can love my pen, right? But if I love
Oh.
another human, it's going to be a different word, okay, to describe this.
Okay.
Now, what is interesting about Finland is that in the whole of Europe, Finland has the lowest divorce rates. Now, when I was, yeah, amazing. So when I studied this at university, I remember my tutor saying, is this because the language enables them to see something further? Or is this because it's just how the culture is formed, right? Now, I've always wondered that. And for me personally, I would say that it's because of it's because of the language they speak. It enables them to see something in a different view. Like,
Mm,
for example, the
mm.
Eskimos. The Eskimos, they have like, I think it's
Yes.
17 words for snow, right? We have snow,
Yes.
sleet, hail,
Yeah.
and that's it. I think we have.
Is it is it surf and Worfian theory hypothesis?
Yeah.
Surf and Worf.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Yes,
So
I know. For example, in Persian or Arabic culture, we have a lot of word with camel. In
yeah,
English, just there is a camel name, okay?
yeah,
But
yeah.
we have for Arabic people, they have for each age of camel, they have one name. For example, if the camel is 12 years old, they have a name. If it's a
Yeah,
baby camel, they have another name. If it's
yeah.
a male camel, this is how something. I think in Pakistan, maybe this is the same in Urdu.
It's also implemented just like that. We have an uncle. So in English say that uncle, but we have parental and maternal uncle. We call that chacha,
We have the same. We
chacha.
have the same
Yeah,
thing. We have the same thing.
Chinese has the
Dai,
same.
dai
Chinese have
ama,
the same. Yeah,
dai ama.
yeah. So they have paternal and maternal. Chinese have the same thing.
Yeah,
Are you drinking a
we
milk?
have the same thing.
Are
Are
you
you
drinking a
drinking?
milk?
No, it's a tea. It's a tea.
Yeah,
That
we have had some British tea here, but yeah, I mean, like that's a very
Yes.
interesting paternal and maternal. That's another conversation to have. Like, if you really think about it, like, in the English language, we just it's only uncle, and it doesn't matter which uncle it is, in your mother's side or your father's side. I think this lacks a level of understanding and respect for another human being. Like, me personally speaking. I believe that too, like it affects people's
Wow.
ability.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm sorry. What's your name? What's your name, by the way? I don't know
Lucky,
your
my
name.
name is Lucky.
I just
What?
mentioned over here, Lucky, over here, Lucky
Lucky,
class.
yeah,
Look,
Lucky,
looky.
yeah,
Looky. So you are saying that if any cultures has, for example, in Finnish culture, they have two words for love, it means they respect each word more than the others, that they don't have the two words for a concept?
theoretically, yeah. Theoretically, I'm saying this. I mean, there are few studies like that have proved the difference in word gives them a different perception, but there's not been clear, definitive evidence of this. However, like I said, English language is such a young language, we will never have definitive proof of this for another 1,000 years, right? But theoretically, yes, I am saying that. I'm saying that the way you comprehend and speak language, or whichever language you speak, will affect
Mm,
the way you
mm,
perceive or speak about things.
yeah, yeah. There is some other things that I want to share with you. In my language,
Yeah,
we have more than maybe 10 words for thank you.
yeah,
Maybe in English just thanks, but in my language we have more than 10, words for thank you, the concept of thank you.
yeah,
And sometimes I feel that because of our culture, it just we don't appreciate the real meaning of thanks anymore. Like like we're using it with a redundancy, with too much banality, or maybe I don't know the word for
yeah.
it. Like we're using it like too much,
So
and we
you
are just
so
taking it for granted, kind of.
So you
Yeah,
mean
What do
like
you?
because it's in overuse that people are
Mm,
losing
yes,
this value of
yes,
the word?
yes,
I
yes,
mean that
yeah.
that does that could be true, and that does have some sort of relevance. But at the end of the day, it's what Chomsky says is um, it's not a word that defines its definition, right? So no, Noam Chomsky says this. He goes, you go to any, especially he's talking about an English dictionary. If you go to an English dictionary, you search for a word. This we call it a definition, right? But really, it's not a definition. It's a description of the word, right? It's telling you, or it's hinting to you what the word means. It's not telling you what the word actually means, right? So if you go to the OED, the Oxford English Dictionary, the one that has the long kind of description of each word, this goes into a bit more depth. But in dictionaries in general, they are just hinting at what the word means. You have to use something that is inside you to decode this information and say, okay, actually, that's a chair. Because what defines a chair, right? How do you define a chair? You're going to say, well, a chair has four legs, and but chairs come with three legs. Okay, a chair has three legs that supports an individual. You know what I mean? So the problem is that there is no like clear cut explanation for any word, right? It's the value that you innately give to this word that defines the word, right? That defines the word, which is interesting, right? So when you're talking about definitions of words now, you have to look at like a 360 view. You have to look at the etymology, you have to look at the grammar behind it, noun phrase, this phrase, that. You have to go into depth to actually characterize and understand what a word means, right? For example, happy, right? Where does happiness come from? Where does this word come from? It's derived from Latin. I think the word is pleasure, and pleasure means to please others,
Ah,
right? So pleasure means to please others, right? So for if you look at the word in its etymology, by definition, happiness has roots in pleasing other people, right? Which is mind blasting if you really think about that, right? So, what is happiness?
mm,
If you ask me as an individual, I would say happiness is to serve other people, right? That's how you achieve happiness. And then you look at the etymology, and then you find it comes from pleasure, which means to please others, right? So it's very, very. I mean, English language is a very young language, and because of that, everything has range for like discussion, right? So we can really go into it and try to decipher information through all of this. But etymology, I would suggest anyone to look up to etymology and
Me too.
yeah,
Me too.
yeah,
Me
amazing.
too.
What's
It
what?
is one of my favorite methods. One
Yeah,
of my favorite methods to learn. If I encounter with the words that specifically I cannot remember that,
yeah,
so definitely I go for its etymology
yeah.
and searching about this Anglo-Saxon, Latin, and what it's like.
Yeah.
It has some maybe semantic change or
Yeah,
not. So
exactly.
stories are very interesting. Have you heard about the etymology of a phrase that "hold your horses"? This is very
Hold,
interesting. Hold your
hold
horses. Do you
yours.
know what
No, no, I
where it
haven't.
comes?
You can teach me some of it.
Okay, this this is very interesting etymology behind that. For example, in Middle Age or in the Middle Time, about maybe I don't know, 14th century or something, they had some prisoners or jailers, and they wanted to punish them. So what they do that they try to fasten them, to try to tie them to in the middle of a road, and let the horses go over them, run over those jailers as a punishment.
Okay,
So there
prison.
was a person like a guard who was fastening the ropes and tell the horseman that wait your horses, wait, I
Hold
haven't
your,
fastened it and I'm in the middle of the road.
yeah.
So I fastened it and then you can torture them. Then I come back. You can torture them enough.
Awesome. Yeah, well, hold your horse is amazing. Yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, that is
Yeah.
something else, isn't it? You know what I mean? Something that derives from pure like evil, and now it's like a phrase to be used for everyone. So, I mean, that is because if do you know Bruce Lee?
Yeah, I know that.
Bruce Lee,
Yeah.
the karate, the kung fu,
Yeah,
kung
the
fu,
Kung Fu character. I mean, he was an amazing person, like in
massive.
general, right? Massive figure, influential, smart, intelligent, and he was very educated, right? So he said something about the English language. He said, to describe a word, you have to spell it, right? Spell in English means to cast a spell, right? So he says, be careful what you say about yourself, right? Be careful what you say about yourself because it's all a spell and it's a spell for them to trick you, right? So Bruce Lee used to say this a lot, you know. So I kind of agree with that theory, you know. I agree with that because there's a lot of dark history in the English language, right? One of them is when English got standardized, right? Because we didn't know how or we didn't understand how to spell a word because we've never seen it spelled, right? So when the printing press first got invented, we used the typewriter, right? So we typed the word up. So just imagine it's a new language. You have to invent a language. You have to invent a word and spell it, right? So anyway, these guys, some of them were corrupt. Some of them were ignorant, right? So what they used to do, they used to add in extra letters because they were charged by the letter, right? So if a word like knife, right? So knife, Knife, right? So what originally it should be Nife by logic if we deduce this, right? But we got a K in there which is silent. Why? Because they wanted more money, or because they were so ignorant they forgot they just it's a typo, right? So this is the foundation of the English language. You've got to understand this. And then when this happened, when they went over to America, the Protestant Christians, they wanted to go to a more purer version of English, right? So what they did is they reverted to the old spellings, right? So that's why you have a spelling difference in American English and British English, right? Because when the old school Protestant Christians went over to America, where they wanted to be pure, right? They wanted a purer version of the English language. So they started omitting letters like aluminium, right? So aluminum, right? That's the root of all of this, the spelling and the standardization of the English language. Madness. I think that's crazy, to be honest.
Oh, sorry. You just keep talking. No problem. I'm talking with my mother. No worry. Oh,
Ah,
so you just keep talking.
yeah, so yeah, I believe that was pretty. I mean, that's a pretty amazing thing that the English language, how it got standardized as well. You know what I mean? Um, but
And
I mean,
also,
even
Richie's also over here. Richie, come over here. So here you can see a UK teacher, and Richie is also a
Mm,
teacher. He also spent more than 10 or 20 years to teach English, so you can both
mm.
each other. That's really amazing for you guys. Loki and Richie, yeah. Richie, send me a request and jump here.
I just want to see this North America way is to destroy the family unit. That's why we have a high divorce rate in order to feed the evil agenda. Yes, yes, you're right. uh, but I mean,
He's not over here. Just don't. He just left from the
okay.
conversation. So, but we have a new person, Richie, over here. He will definitely come. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure, right? Come over here and pack the stage, bro.
Yeah, it's all yours. I've been talking for about an hour now. I think I should stop, you know.
Yeah. You talk a lot. These are the stuff that I have never thought. You said that, oh, Ryan, you are playing with different kind of, stickers are
I
over.
want to change my background. I don't know, is it possible? Or like changing my background? Or it's not possible?
No idea.
You don't like your background? Maybe someone's...
No, I just want to try something interesting maybe. So yeah, that's the very thing. Do you know about the etymology of bucket list?
Yeah.
You know, kick the bucket, sorry.
Kick the bucket.
bucket.
The etymology of kick the bucket?
Yeah,
No, go for it.
You know, I think I'm not so sure, so you should search, and it's just maybe I'm not so sure, so I will have a doubt.
Yeah.
So I have heard that it is backing to the fact that in the old time they wanted to kill people, hang people, so they put a bucket under their feet in order to let them kill them. So when they kick the bucket, it means they dead. Yes.
That is so dark, man. You know what I mean? This English language is dark. You know, people don't learn English, don't learn it, forget about it. Let's all speak something else. It's not.
Also, bucket list is a kind of related maybe to the kick the bucket. Bucket list means things that you are going to do in your life or before you die.
Before you kick the bucket.
Also related. Indeed.
So I mean, learning is interesting. You know what I say about language learners? I say language learners are the most open-minded people to exist, and the reason for that is when you are learning a new language, you have to change your thought process, right? Each language is going to come with its culture, right? You might have a patriarchal culture.
I'm inviting a lady. Oh my God, he just unable to join. I'm not sure what's happened to you. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, he sent
so,
me.
Luki, can I ask you a question? Which part of England are you come from? Which part of England
Manchester.
you come from?
I'm in Manchester.
Oh, Manchester! Wow, amazing!
Yeah.
You have a Mancunian accent.
How you guys? I'm just kind of like live hopping right now. How you doing, Tay?
Yeah, well, perfect.
America, we have America in the building.
Good. I heard that. I came in and I heard you guys talk about kick the bucket.
Yeah.
So that's one example of kick the bucket. The second example of kick the bucket is, say I want to do something. Say I want to take a trip. I want to take a trip. Or no. Let me give you a better example. Say I have a problem. And rather than me stop today and fix the problem and get the problem out of the way, I'm kicking the bucket. I'm just letting it roll over till tomorrow, till next week, till next year. I'm just kicking the bucket. I'm kicking the bucket.
Wow.
To say that I need to do something or I want to do something and I keep putting it off. I'm just kicking the bucket down the street. I'm kicking the bucket down the street. So when people talk about, oh, I want to do things before I die, or I need to do something before a certain amount of time, that means I put it on my bucket list. Because it has to be done. It's something that I want to do. I want to fix the problem. I want to do it. But I haven't done it yet. So now I'm putting it on the bucket list and I'm kicking the bucket. I'm constantly kicking the bucket because I'm procrastinating.
Okay. The first time I heard of that, you know.
Yes, that's the second term of it. The other term that the gentleman said was instead of killing you, because you can only stand up so long. You can only stand so long. So they will put the bucket under your feet.
Right.
And as you're fighting to stand up, you're gonna kick that bucket because of your feet. You're gonna lose balance.
Yeah.
And that's when you die. That's when you die.
That's,
yeah.
Again, that's really dark, isn't it? It's so dark.
Yes, it is.
You know what I mean?
That's those Europeans,
Yep. That's European mindset. That is European mindset. So that's interesting. Thanks for sharing that with us, because I never knew that, I never ever knew that.
Yeah, so when you hear people talk about my bucket list, there's things I want to do or need to do, and I want to do it before the time is up.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, you guys.
Before you leave, what do you have on your bucket list?
What do I have on my bucket list?
Yeah, go on.
I can't really say, because I've been blessed, and I kind of do everything that I want to do, and did everything that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
My bucket list is not the normal. It's not. I couldn't tell you what I want on my bucket list.
Yeah.
Because it's I can't tell you. I almost had it though. Okay, all right, I'll tell you. Y'all don't know me, so I don't care. I'll tell you. When I was traveling to Thailand, right? My bucket list. Well, it's something that I wanted to do, but now it's on my bucket list. Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to be with 6 midgets. I wanted to be. Yes.
You wanted to be with 6 midgets?
Yep. So when I went to Thailand, that's what I was searching for. Right?
Okay.
So my very last night, I was in Bangkok, because I had went to a different island. But like one of my last nights in Bangkok, I found 2.
You found 2 midgets. You were 4 off. You were 4 off your bucket list.
I was 4 off my bucket list. But
Yeah,
the funniest part about it, you guys, and I will be honest with you, is watching me run around Bangkok. I was following them to try and get up enough courage to talk to them.
Wow. Okay. That's quite funny. That. Well, you know what? I've never met a midget in my life, and I don't mean that in any way, shape, or form. But I need to put that on my bucket list as well, I guess.
I chased 2 of them down in Bangkok, but
wow.
I couldn't get up enough courage for the conversation.
You were afraid to get attacked by them, I guess. That is funny. Well, that's nice of you to share that. That's pretty.
Well, yeah, but yeah, I've pretty much done. I've done everything. I've jumped out of a plane. I've bungee cord jumped. I'll be honest, I need to learn how to swim. Okay, so if I have to put something on a bucket list, it would be learning how to swim. And it's crazy, because I enjoy getting on boats, hanging out at the water, but I always have a life vest on, so I always feel safe.
Yeah.
But a bucket list, something that I've always wanted to do would be swimming. What about yourself? What about you?
I probably say swimming too, because I can't swim. So what happened with us is that swimming is on the curriculum in the UK. So by the time you're 7 years old, you're supposed to learn how to swim. But what happened with specifically our year group is our swimming teacher, she died, unfortunately, right? So I remember I just have this memory of lining up to go to the school bus to go to the swimming pool.
Right.
And the teacher comes running out, and she's like, guys, we can't go swimming today. Your swimming teacher died. and we were all just devastated. Just imagine, because we were only like 7 years old, you know. So
Yeah.
the way she broke the news, and after that, I've had a phobia of water, you know. So any time I go near water, like I
Wow.
have a phobia, I can't jump in. I can't do that. I can't do that.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'd have to pay. I mean, I've
Where are
done,
you?
yeah,
Where are you located?
in Manchester, England.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
So
where are you, sir? Where are you?
Me?
I know you. I know where you are, Tay. The other gentleman.
I'm Iran. Yeah, I'm Iran, north of Iran.
North
Iran.
Iran.
Per yes,
Okay.
Persia.
yeah,
Persia.
so yeah. So
I'm in.
swimming
I'm in
pools,
Yeah.
California.
California
Mm.
knows how
Yeah.
to party. Is that
Uh,
how it is?
Wow.
is,
Yes.
is
Yeah.
California knows how to party, or is that true or not?
Well, in my days, I did my fair share. I gotta be honest. I
Yeah,
did my fair share. I'm
no
at the age.
regret.
I have I have no regrets, none at all,
Mm,
none at all. And I'm so grateful to God that He kept me. He kept me in my right mind, and
yeah.
I'm able to I'm able to still go on and go about my day with no issues.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree with you. I agree. I mean, if you live your life to the fullest and you're from the land of California, then why not, right?
I have. When I say I have, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Have you all traveled to the United States?
me personally, no.
You're not missing nothing. You're not missing nothing. I tell people that all the time. A lot of people think that they want to come to the United States.
Yeah.
No, no, you're not missing nothing.
Well, to be honest, the thing about the United States is that I have too many ideas that I hold that are dear to me and my beliefs
Hmm.
with American value. I don't know if it's American values, to be honest, because I have American friends and they're very different to what is perceived, like generally speaking. But I
Hmm.
think it's more government biases I hold against your government. I'm going to be honest. I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist when that happens.
No, I
Um,
agree. I agree.
that's the only thing that I would say that's the only
I
reason
agree.
that I haven't been to the States.
You know, I
Mm.
agree. Right now, with this virus going on and the vaccination,
Yeah.
I at one point I was sitting in a safe. I was in a safe seat. I've been quarantined with no issues. I've been trying to stay quarantined, but now I teach. I teach out of school. I teach welding. I teach welding,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they at the point now. Uh, all the teachers and staff has to be vaccinated.
Wow.
They let us know last Wednesday if we wanted to keep our jobs, we had to be vaccinated.
Wow, 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 wow.
And even if you are teaching at home over the computer with your students, if you want to be a teacher and teach online, you also have to be vaccinated
Wow.
if you
I
want to
mean,
teach
we're
online.
not at that point here. I mean, we're getting there. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure. Because I know in public spaces, we need to provide COVID certification and passports for the
Uh-huh.
vaccine. But as for schools, not as yet, but probably in the next coming months, I believe that will happen. I won't be surprised, you know.
Yeah. They
How
uh
about
they
how
told us
about
they told us last Wednesday.
yeah, but
So
how about in Iran? Like, what's the situation?
Actually, it's so bad. It's so horrible.
Yeah,
Each day I think about 500 people dies each
yeah,
day.
yeah.
So it's so much. We have a
really,
huge statistics. Yeah, yeah, sure. So it's out of control, I can say.
what
Out
about
of
the
control.
vaccine? You all don't have the vaccine yet?
Yeah, we don't have the vaccine, I think. We have just some vaccines from like a Sinopharm from China or Sputnik from Russia. So not very, cannot maybe get vaccines maybe. So
I mean, like
just waiting.
vaccines in general. I feel like there needs to be, you need to understand the technology behind vaccines first, and personally, like, I have nothing against vaccines. I'm just saying, like, people who complain about vaccines these days and have no idea about how the vaccine works, I think they should just shut up. You know what I mean? Like,
And that's my thing. That's my thing. I'm gonna be fair. I don't know how vaccine works, but
yeah, yeah,
I can only tell you that I'm afraid. I'm
yeah,
afraid to
yeah,
take it
yeah, yeah, yeah,
because I don't know how it works. And
yeah, yeah,
another thing,
exactly.
say, we have all these other diseases, deadly
Yeah,
diseases here,
yeah,
and you're telling me that you can't find a cure for it, that there's nothing you
exactly.
can do for it but give me medicine to make me feel better
Yeah,
or not feel the pain.
yeah.
But this deadly disease that we have now, you're telling me that you have a cure for it or a vaccine for it.
Okay,
So,
if you don't mind, can I switch the topic? Because when you are talking vaccine and all those kind of things on the online, you can't go live again because the Instagram,
are you serious?
No, yeah. If you're just talking about the controversial things on Instagram, political or vaccine, maybe you just can't slow down to you can't go live again and again only for next 1 week or 2 weeks. So that's the punishment that they are giving. If you are just
Serious?
yes, that's why
I
just
am
so
so sorry, Tay. I didn't know that. I didn't
Oh,
know.
it's okay. It's
I
fun. Fun while
um
it lasted. It's
I
fun
be
while it lasted.
oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Because I be live hopping, and I gotta be honest, this is like the most interesting room I've been in all day. Everybody,
Wow.
Tay, you know how I be arguing and fussing, right? You know how they argue and they fuss on the different rooms.
Oh,
So
really?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Well, you know what? To be honest, like, just to switch the topic about arguing and fussing, that just points to what we were saying before. Like, one of the things I was saying is that we're in a TikTok society, right? Everyone's attention span is like this small, right? So people like that, they just want to argue anyway, They just want to argue with whatever. They want to find an excuse just to like be pissed off, right? That's what they want to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Now, don't get me wrong. Some days, I'm in the house by myself, I'll be honest. And some
Mm.
days I'll get on it and kind of rant, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and
Natural.
run to the next room. I'll go to the next room and rant, rant there.
Well, you know
But,
what? Next time I want to hear some of those rants, to be honest. 'Cause,
oh, no, you're not giving me an argument. You don't, you know, you're not
I'm
giving me
not
an
an
argument.
argumentative guy, but by nature I can't argue. Like, I mean, there's a design of argument, right? So,
Yes.
people don't know how to even establish a coherent argument. You know what I mean? So, for those kind of people, why would you even waste your time? Like, I'm
Right,
better than
right.
that. So there's no
You know,
point.
when I talk about arguing with people in the United States, I'll
Yeah,
come in the room and I'll say, "Hi, everybody," and the
yeah.
first thing they say is, "Ugh, look at your hair. Why your hair look like
You
that?"
should say, look at your face. Why your face look like that?
Hi, Muffy. How you doing, baby?
That's what you should
Yeah,
say to them.
so
You should
you
say that.
won't find normally you just don't find a conversation of people talking about say English
Yeah,
or chemistry or physics.
yeah.
I
Well, you
haven't
know
run into
what?
those
I
conversations.
gotta thank Tayyip for that because he kind of opened my world. Because I was new to Instagram when he started following me, so
Thank you, baby.
I had no
I love
idea
you.
how this live stuff works or anything of this works. And Tayyip, I'm sure it's been about 4 months now. He's been telling me to come on, come on, come on, and I'm like, I
Hmm.
haven't got the time right now, and because I'm busy working. But finally, busy season is over, like I said to him before. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna try be more active on
yeah,
this scene. You know what I mean?
yeah. I just went back to work a couple of weeks ago, so I
Yeah,
don't get a chance to be on as
yeah,
much as
yeah.
I was.
Well, you
But
know what? I think people like you should come across more often just to spice things up a bit. You know what I mean?
I
So,
will. Look, I'm gonna add you guys. Let
yeah,
me
yeah,
see if I
go
can
for it.
add you.
spice it up, you know, and just give
I
your
can't
point of
add you
view.
from here. I can't add y'all from here. But what's your name?
You
My
can
name is
add right.
Lucky.
I can tell you how you can add and how you can follow. You just click on the top bar where Tayyab is written. You just click
I
over there.
tried it. I
Yeah.
tried it. I would have to cam down. When I cam down, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Hi,
Okay.
Yasmin.
Okay, yeah.
That's Yasmina. That's Yasmina. She's a
Hi.
nice lady.
Yeah,
She's a nice lady.
let's get some more like-minded individuals on like that.
Okay, so I'll be talking to you guys. Okay.
Yeah, thank you for popping in. Thank you.
I love y'all. Be good. Be
Yeah, yeah,
safe.
yeah. You too. Stay safe.
Bye.
What an amazing lady.
Yeah, we have. Okay, someone else did a request. Let me see who.
So, Luki, can I ask you about? I know about Cockney rhyming slang, but I heard also you have in Manchester you have Mancunian rhyming
Yeah,
slang,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
For can you tell us some of them? Do you remember any of those?
So I mean, they're not exactly rhyming slang, but the slang that we use would be something like scran. Scran means to get some food.
Eat,
I'm so hungry.
eat,
I
eat.
need scran. I need food. I need to scran. You
Yes,
know,
I
and
need scran,
scran
right?
up. I need to scran up. Right. I'm hungry. Let's go for a scran. Yeah. So this is very
Yeah,
Mancunian. In it, if you come to Manchester, everyone's gonna say in it to you. So
in it,
yeah.
in it, isn't it?
Yeah,
Isn't it?
so
Isn't
when
it?
I'm with my friends, I
In it,
always say in it, man. Like, so I was going
yes.
down there and this happened in it.
In it,
Yeah,
might,
so
might.
One
You are
second.
my
mate,
friend, might. In
mate,
it, in
you're
it, in
right,
it,
mate.
in it.
How's it going,
My,
mate?
my. Cheers, Tom, mate.
Yeah,
Tom, mate.
Just one
yeah,
second.
Yeah. You know,
Let's see who's over here with us. Jawad, welcome. Speak up, bro. Oh, Jawad, are you there? Okay, sorry. I think so. There's a technical issue. We can't hear you. Sorry for that. I'm just removing you. You come again if you want.
so what would we say in it? So yeah, so we have a lot of in it. But the reason that I don't speak like that right now is because I know the audience, right? So if I spoke in like Mancunian dialect, I don't think a lot of you would kind of understand what I'm saying, right? So, and I've been a language teacher for so long. I've traveled for so long. I lived in China for almost 8 years. I traveled Europe, you know, and I have a kind of a good understanding of how to be clear as opposed to be speaking my dialect. But if I'm with my friends, we speak very differently, definitely. Right? When I'm with my friends,
there is there is there is a rhyming slang that I heard from someone. You say something for teeth, like something heath, like teeth. It rhymes
teeth,
with teeth. Teeth,
teeth,
teeth.
I don't
Your
know.
teeth.
I don't know.
Look at your maybe square teeth, like
Mm,
heath, heath, and it means rhymes with teeth.
I don't
Like
know.
I'm a, for example, he's a, how can I say? He doesn't have a bread like head, like it rhymes with bread. Like have a butcher's. Have you heard that? Have a butcher's?
Have you had a butcher's?
Have a butcher's. Yes, have a butcher's hook. Have a look.
Have a
Have a
look.
look. It
Have a
means have a
butcher's.
look.
Yeah, have a butcher. Have a butcher's round. Yeah. I mean, those are more south southern. Yeah, England though. It's not more.
Oh,
Yeah. So
London,
yeah,
London,
I mean
London.
southern, maybe in the London region, but mostly southern.
Okay, you guys keep talking. I just come over here. Give me 1 minute. It's raining start, and I have to do something else. Otherwise, it's a
Okay.
little bit.
Yeah.
So you
Okay.
just
No.
keep.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah.
Lucky, I have a question.
Go.
When you are talking about language learning, what is your view over learning idioms, grammar, idioms and phrases, expressions? Do you think and slangs? Do you mean what is your? I mean, in which level do you can people can work on idioms and phrase and expression?
Okay. So
It's do you have any?
I do. I mean,
Can I
idiom.
rephrase my question? Rephrase my question. Do you
No,
mean,
I mean it's a good question. I understand, but you can rephrase if you want.
okay, I mean that because I think idioms and phrases are like a mountaintop of every language. They are very colorful, and there is something sometimes some history behind it,
Yeah.
kind of those things. So it's very hard. You should know about a lot about the culture.
Yeah.
So maybe do you think it's a good idea to teach students at maybe beginning elementary level or even intermediate level to teach these kind of things like idioms and phrases? Do you think it's a good idea?
I think idioms, to be honest, first of all, idioms, generally speaking, are a good idea. Why? Because idioms are like history, you know, pieces of history that have survived through language. And they're like ideas. Like, this is the most like interesting things about idioms and poetry in general, that the way they grasp a language. One second. In general, they hold like keys of the past. That's the first thing I'd like to say about idioms. Secondly, when to learn them in language learning process. Anytime. Idioms you can learn anytime, you know, at early stages, at later stages. Idioms in general, I don't think this will slow or speed up any of your language learning process, you know. What was the other thing you were saying?
Yeah, for example, slangs or slangs.
Okay,
What's
so
your
slang.
idea about learning
Give
slang?
me 1 moment on the slang. I need to just grab a cup of water.
Sure.
Oh, sorry for that.
No
Oh,
problem.
he just he just went away.
No, he wanted to take something and he went to, I don't know, to do something. So I could hear the beautiful voice of your roosters. How are they?
Okay, these are the rain start. I just go to pick up their grains to put in the shed
Ah,
because their grains
oh,
the feed of the roosters are just on the open area. So my mom told me that when the rain start, you have to put them under the shelter. I said okay. So when the rain start, I just go and put them into the shelter, and the roosters start saying that I'm over here
mm,
or something like that.
mm. How do you call roosters in your language? Roosters.
Murga,
What do you call?
murga,
Uh, and how about the chicken, the
mur,
wife of the?
murgi, murga.
Oh, yeah, we call it morg, but for female one, and for the male one we call it khurus, means uh, like. And yours are already, I think, cute because they attack people. So I like it so much.
Yeah,
I like them so much.
they are really dangerous. So to
Very
be
nice.
honest, yeah. So
Yes.
this is the longest live that I did with anyone else. To be honest, it's crossed the 100 minutes. It's crossed 100 minutes. So
Well, you know what? It's an interesting conversation. And Puya, is it Puya? Your name, sorry?
Puyan.
Puyan, sorry, Puyan.
Yeah.
Puyan asked
Yeah, sure.
earlier about idioms and slang before I just left. So what I would say was, first of all, idioms being a part of history and culture in general. Slang, though, slang is a very interesting thing, right? Slang can it allows you to portray a part of yourself or anything that is not tangible. You know, it's abstract idea. And the thing about the modern day is we love abstract ideas, right? We love them. We love the realm of abstract ideas and conspiracies. So it depends how you learn as an individual. I think it's a good thing to learn, right? But it depends. What are you trying to learn? Are you trying to be academic, or are you trying to be relatable? Because academic people are not necessarily relatable. You know, there are some smart minds in the world that find it very difficult, or it's very difficult to understand them, right? But if someone came with a bit of slang, they're like, whoa, this guy's cool. I want to be like him, right? So that's the thing about slang, you know. Should you learn it? Yes, definitely. Slang is definitely something that everyone should at least be aware of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, indeed,
But
indeed.
I,
And I think slangs are very expressive. Like they are very colorful, expressive. For
Yeah.
example, I heard in USA they say dope in order to say
So,
excellent
yeah,
or
something
awesome.
is dope.
Dope,
Yeah.
dope, dope.
Yeah. Dope.
Yeah, you are so dope. You are so
Exactly.
dope. You're
Exactly.
awesome.
But what I would say,
Is it in the British?
no,
In British, is it
we
count?
don't really use dope, but we say something is sick, right? That is pretty sick.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Do you say wicked? You are so wicked. Do you say
Yeah,
that?
you
Wicked.
well, Wicked, the Wicked generation was the 90s, right? So that is very me.
Ah,
So it's me that, so anyone who says Wicked, I know the year they were born, right? Because it's a very 90s baby thing to say.
ah.
Wicked. Yeah.
Oh, interesting,
Yeah,
interesting.
Wicked.
Also, the slang shows the like integrity to a group of people, like what age you are, like what group of people you are associated with. So they are very transitional, I think, kind of phrases or expression, slang, transitional.
Exactly. Now, what I mean, like you guys are like learners of the English language, and you actually learn this. Now, me, I can only approach it from the language that I learned was Mandarin Chinese, right? I never,
Hmm.
I've never stepped in foot in a Mandarin speaking classroom ever. I've never engaged
Oh.
in an actual classroom type
Hmm.
environment. My Mandarin skills that I learned was basically from taking all of the theory that I learned from my language learning
Oh.
studies. I implemented them, and to be honest,
Hmm.
I'm quite I'm quite proficient in the Mandarin language, and I think what I was going to ask you
What
guys.
is
Yeah.
What is your level? What is your level in Mandarin? What is your level? What is
So,
your command?
so they have HSK levels, right? I think that
Uh,
the highest one is 7. I think it is. I'd be 5 easy, right? But the thing is
oh,
about me,
wow.
yeah. So, but the thing is about me though
Wow.
is that what I did was I went to grassroots level. So I went into the villages of China, right? And I immersed
Wow.
myself with the farmers, right? I immersed myself with the farmers, the shopkeepers, you know, they're like 80-year-old men, 60-year-old men. And I just sat and observed, you know, I observed how they live their life. I, I,
Wow. Wow. Amazing.
you know, so
Amazing.
honestly, I did that for like
Amazing.
3 or 4 years. And then after
Mm.
that is when I developed an actual understanding of the language. So for the first
Mm.
3 or 4 years in China, I had zero idea of what it was. I didn't even know if it was a language because what we used to hearing in the UK is Cantonese, not Mandarin. Because all our movies and because of colonialism,
Hong Kong.
it's
Hong
all,
Kong.
yeah,
Hong Kong.
yeah, exactly. It's all Hong Kong. So when I first,
Ganshan? Ganshan? How do you say Ganshan? Ganshan?
Shenzhen,
Ganshan?
Guangzhou.
No, they call it in Chinese, in Mandarin, they say Ganshan to Hong Kong, right? Is it correct? Or is it wrong? Because I know few Mandarin. Wa jiao pu yan, wa ilan len.
Yeah, I
So I
mean,
know some basic.
Hong Kong is actually Shangang.
Shangan, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
I'm talking about that.
yeah,
Shangan.
Shangang. So I mean, like, for what I was gonna say,
So,
ask you guys was this, like, being learners of a second language, what kind of development did you see in your thinking ability? Because for me personally, when I learned Mandarin, I was able to, I'm right-handed, but now I can use both hands now. That was like amazing for me,
wow,
yeah, honestly.
wow,
So when I started
that's
to,
amazing.
Yeah, it changed my life because, and it was so weird the way it happened because when I got to China, I'm just using my right hand to write slowly, slowly, slowly. I'm starting to realize I'm using my left hand more, right? And it kind of like the drip effect, you know. I almost became ambidextrous over like 4 years just by
Mm,
learning a different language. So I was wondering if anything you guys like experienced anything like that.
mm,
Yeah, actually, when I started learning, first of all, that's I feel that I can easily engage all over the world. That's really a
Mhm.
big achievement for me, and this way that I can talk with other people. The second thing is that, to be honest, when I start learning, so my mind is just opening up. I think so. I don't know maybe how much I feel praise for that because whenever 5 or 6 people are sitting beside me, so I feel confident that I can speak another language. This is
Mhm.
also, and the last thing that I can see things in a different direction where I think so the normal people can't able to do that because of this language. We have a different exposure with
Yeah.
different people.
mm,
So these are the all benefits that.
mm,
And by the way, what are you eating?
mm.
Are you eating a burger? Are
No,
you a burger
no.
boy?
I'm not a burger guy. I'm not a burger guy. I'm eating a cheese pie.
Cheese pie. Okay. So do you
Mhm.
know the burger boy? Which guy that
Bon appetit.
call a burger?
Bon appetit.
You know that?
No, sorry, what?
Yeah, actually, you finished that, then we will talk. I said the burger boy. We usually call the burger boy the elite boy who always just emphasized eating burger and pizza and cold drinks. So we call them a burger. They don't have a physical or practical experience in their life. They just enjoy
Okay,
money of their
burger boy.
parents.
That's
So these,
interesting.
yeah, we call them. It's just like in our culture we call them. Oh, can you see this burger boy? He's just coming over here. They're just talking blah 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 blah, but they do nothing. They're just saying that because they people just follow them. People just follow them because they have a money, but
Uh-huh.
they don't have practical experience and knowledge. They can buy different stuff.
Mm.
So, but they are always, they need friends.
It's a slang, right? It's a slang, right? A slang you use in Pakistan.
It's not a
It's a
slang
slang.
because this is not our language, but we just call them so that to piss them off, something like that, to remind our other person that these are the burger boys, something like that. It's not just like a slang. Slang is usually you can make a slang when you are using your own native language because you can't able to slang,
No, not necessarily, not necessarily.
but
You
slang
can
is
use the English words in your language.
but
Do you know,
slang.
for example, in Persian?
Yeah,
In
yeah,
Persian, let me tell you in Persian slangs. There is a Persian slangs. Do you know the word relationship or relationship? The
yeah.
first part we took it into our language. We say, for example, rel relationship. Rel zadan means to beat rel. So rel first part is English. So we put it in our language. Take it like you have a relationship with someone. Say, did you rel zadan? Did you take any relationship with anybody? So it's called. It's like a part of it is British from rel relationship, and the other part is Persian. So it's a slang.
Yeah,
I think this is a slang as well.
I
I
mean,
feel.
the term for that slang, I would agree with you. So the term that we would use is like borrowing and then code switching, right? So we borrow a word from another language and we switch the meaning, right? So for example, in English, we have a phrase that says to chow down your food, right? To eat really fast, right? But chow in Chinese is to stir fry, right? So what happened? The
It's to
Chinese,
eat, right? To
yeah,
eat, to eat,
chow.
right?
Yeah, yeah. So the chow came from the Chinese, right? So they came to the UK. They used this style of chow, which is a quick stir fry, right? So the English adopted this, right? And said chow down your food means to eat really quick.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So we have a lot of
Chow down.
to chow down your food, which is and chow is a style of cooking. So you have the China has like four different styles of cooking: chow, dun,
Wow.
and then there's another one is dun, sir or something, and kwar, right? And each of these words are different. They mean or represent something different. So when they came to the UK, they brought that kind of tradition with them, just like the Indians, just like the Pakistanis, just like the Caribbeans. So English is just a compilation of all of these languages, you know? That's all English is. So the English was a pidgin language, right? So it means that pigeons, they all come together and they speak. So English originally is what it was. It was a pidgin language, you know? Chow down and
Like a
feed.
pigeon, like a dove,
Yeah,
dove,
yeah,
like a dove,
like a dove or a
dove.
pigeon or
Pigeon. In Italian, it is piccione. In Italian, pigeon is piccione. Means
pigeon.
dove.
Yeah, yeah.
Piccione, Colombo.
Okay.
Even Colombo. Colombo is.
Colombo
Yes.
is not a
So
place?
that is interesting. Colombo is the word for pigeon.
Yeah.
Pigeon in Italian. Colombo. They have two words. One of them is piccione. The other one is Colombo. So it's like a pigeon is coming from Italy. Colombo is more for dove. I think it's maybe white kind of pigeon.
Yeah.
So anyway, so how long have you living? How have you been living in the past in China? How long?
Probably about 8 years. 8 years, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
I went there
Amazing.
to originally I went there to do my research in culture and language learning processes. So I did originally I did a year and a half for my research. Came back, handed in my paper, went back for work. You know, I went back to work there because I fell in love with China. I'm not gonna lie, I fell in love with the whole idea of China, the way of life. And yeah, I just stayed there for 8 years.
Yeah. If you don't,
Very interesting culture.
Yeah, amazing culture.
don't mind start over here from tomorrow, and then most probably we will do a little bit earlier so that we can catch up many other people as well.
Yeah.
And you are all eating something, and I'm also feeling sleepy.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it was interesting talking to you guys. Like, seriously, it's very interesting.
Yeah, thank you.
Tomorrow, hopefully, if anyone's listening, come check us tomorrow. We will be talking about the myths of language learning, and we will try to debunk a lot of theories that people believe help you speed up language learning processes, but actually they're slowing you down. So tomorrow might be an interesting one. Today it was just to see how you guys are doing, really. And we ended up developing a conversation out of it, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah. So
can I use a slang? Can I use a slang here? You are so sick.
Well, you are so sick. You're sick, bro. Yeah, you could say that.
You're sick, bro. You're sick, mate.
Yeah,
you're sick, mate. You're sick, love.
Yeah,
love. They say love.
Love, yes, love. Yes, love. Right, that's another thing we say. We say yes a lot, right? When we see someone, we'll say yes, you know? Like you guys say salam or maybe I don't know namaste, but we say yes. You know, we just look at someone, yes. Okay. You know, so that's another one.
Guys, I want to tell you some last memory about myself. When I was cooking with a man from New Zealand, and all he was sounding like a pronunciation of yes was like yes. They have a different way. Yes. So he cooked some soup and he told me, chick, please, chick. I said, what? Chick, please. Chick. I didn't understand what he's saying. He meant checking it. So try it.
Yeah,
so,
check it.
Then give me
chick, yes. Yes. I mean, all dialects of English are amazing, aren't they? You know.
So thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Puyan. Luke, to come over here.
Yeah.
This conversation is never ever ending, especially 2 hours, almost 1 hour and 52 minutes. So can you imagine? So it's just maybe I think 2 or 3 minutes more to wrap up this one, and then maybe tomorrow we have to save something for tomorrow rather than discuss all those things today. Maybe
tomorrow we have a lot more to say. Like tomorrow is real. Today we just playing, you know.
Yeah. Today is a big game. Warm up. It was a warm up, right?
We just warm it up exactly.
It was a
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
sure.
I'm just also saying,
tomorrow wait for 7 hours.
7 hours straight. Boom.
I'm saving this live as well. I will also save tomorrow live. So let's see what people can, because we discuss a lot of good things in
I hope Instagram won't block you. I hope Instagram won't block you because we talk a bit part of it about Corona. So you.
Don't worry. The lady, she just talked about a lot, and she just started to, she just playing with us, even though I got it, but I just keep silent. Let's see what you want to do, because I know that Luca definitely catch her, and he did.
Exactly, exactly. And I had to, because otherwise we are all in trouble. I mean, it's the culture we're in. We can't really do much. If we privately want to have a conversation about this, we can. I'll be more than happy to do so, you know.
Yeah, okay. So take care. Thank you, Luca, and as well as Priyan to coming over here. I'm very happy to listen you guys, especially Luca share a lot of things, deep side and other
Uh,
positive things to learn this language and share. And Puyan, thank you for your all slangs and words
Bye bye.
and etymology of different words that you share with us. I'm very happy. Your smile is amazing. You just keep smiling right now. You are doing so. Keep save this for tomorrow. We will catch up tomorrow. Okay?
cool
You
guys,
want?
take care. Have
Sure,
a good
sure.
night.
Thank
Man.
you.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Cheers, mate. Cheers,
Cheers,
mate.
mate. See
Bye.
you. Wait, wait.
Bye bye.
Cheers, mate.